There will not be no one entering the spiritual path as is not justification for this world to be. Then it will be automatically disappear. This is just a temporary scaffolding. This is a spiritual school of the universe, this earth. And if there's nobody to walk the path, there's no need for humanity. And the only one who can avert this disaster is Avatar. That's why he's coming. Because we just have to give him a little bit of help. That would be easier. But we do whatever we do. I don't want to point fingers at anyone. I have my own challenges, daily challenges, etc. That's it. How about yes?
I like to see you smile and laugh. If you enjoy, do a skit if you'd like to.
Why don't you do a skit? Somebody will read one of my skits, like Meira's cake.
Which one? Do we have parts? Well, I don't mean to interrupt so soon. If you wanted to finish up what but I want to make sure that you.
I'm okay.
Do that, okay. So do we have parts? Is that how we do it?
No, it's a skit.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
each one is complete by itself.
Okay, all right.
But it's better than somebody. I cannot say it here, and I want to see you. And some of us also. I don't think my accent and my tone, and that some of you is willing to read it.
Which one do you?
Meira's cake. I love it. Meira is often a star in my skits. You don't mind if somebody would be willing to read it?
Yeah, if I can.
But we can't see it, Etzion. We can't see it. So how can we read it?
Oh, it's on his website. I'm just looking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rosalie is a good reader. If you can pass it. Oh, you can read it.
I can, or Rosalie, yeah. Are there different parts, more than one, or you just read it?
It's actually different people, but it's a storytelling.
What?
Let's see. Take me a minute to get there. So why don't you can maybe finish up? I'll get to your.
You scroll down under essays. You enter the English section, and you go down under articles to the skits.
Skits, right?
You scroll down.
Yeah, my computer's slow. It's getting there. Okay.
Okay.
English. All right. Articles, letters, or articles? Yeah.
No, go down.
Okay.
Scroll down under articles.
Here we go.
You see?
English. All right. Did you feel that you have finished what you were what you were saying?
I don't know. I can talking about all kinds of things. If you want to speak, I have many Arabic stories, endless of Arabic stories. I have been dealing with Arabs since the beginning of the 80s. Of course, I was dealing with Arabs since I was born. I was born into the war of 1948. Unfortunately, the Arabic community in Israel didn't like the idea that the Jews will come back to Israel or Palestine and start their own country. And they disagreed to it, most of them. Even the Jews didn't do anything bad here. They just developed the country. The country was very neglected. It was an abandoned place, non-important part of the Ottoman Empire. And for example, in the middle of the 19th century, if you wanted to buy a wheel to make a cart, you couldn't buy a wheel in the entire Palestine. There was nobody, not a craftsman to do this. It was so neglected. Only by the end of the 19th century, the Ottomans, it is Turkey today, built the railway from Jaffa to Jerusalem, and they started to connect Palestine to Lebanon, Syria, Saudi, etc. Egypt. We had trains going freely all over the Middle East. And maybe one day it will come back. Who knows? The entire Middle East was free. You could move from place to place. There were no passports or nothing. So you don't manage?
I'm okay. I'm here now at Mara's Cake. Is that it?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. And I just read?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You had, okay. Let's start. It's a story. Mara's Cake. I was about to take my afternoon holy nap when the court Abdal, now what's an Abdal?
Messenger of God.
Appeared. Messenger of God appeared
Baba
suddenly
speaks
before.
about it. Yes, quite.
And where? What?
Baba speaks on Abdals as the agents and messengers of God.
Okay.
Abdal in Arabic is a slave.
Interesting.
Abid Allah, slave of God. Abid Allah.
Abed is slave.
Abid Allah. This is a slave of God. Abid Allah. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was about to take my afternoon holy nap when the court Abdal appeared suddenly before me, wearing the most serious expression I have seen on his otherwise facetious-looking countenance. Boy, you've got the English vocabulary. Facetious-looking countenance. Baba wants you at his court right away, he said sternly. I hurriedly put on my clothes and ran behind him, wondering to myself, what is the wrong thing I have done now to be rushed to the court? Baba's court was packed with gods and lords, all beaming and sparkling like lustrous suns. In the center of the court, an octagonal-shaped table was standing on one leg. It was made of millions of diamonds, sapphires, rubies, topazes, emeralds, garnets, opals, agates, amethysts, aquamarines, onyxes, jaspers, all 12 precious stones emanating dazzling beams of light. All the sparkling stones were moving constantly, as if the table was made of an airy substance or liquid, but at the same time it seemed to be most solid. I was staring hypnotized at this marvel. Mara walked in, dressed with her celestial gown, which was made of endless constellations of suns. She was surrounded by thousands of gopis who were holding the hems of her celestial gown. She was glowing with the most stunning beauty a human had ever seen. Her past earthly frame resembled just a pale image of her true self. Mara was carrying in both hands a big parcel. All the gods and lords rose up with admiration, but Baba, who kept being seated on his throne, beaming with sweet eyes at his Mara. Mara placed the parcel on the table with solemn face and walked out. Baba turned to me saying, "Open the parcel up." I untied the knot and removed the cover. Inside was one of Mara's famous cakes, and on top of it was written in chocolate letters, God Realization. Baba and all the gods and lords were extremely glorious and brilliant. I was dazzled and tried to focus my vision. Eat the cake, commanded Baba, but I was staring at it hesitatingly, completely puzzled. You want me to eat the God Realization cake of Mara? I managed to utter at last. Yes, yes, Baba remarked. We all decided unanimously to grant you God Realization. And all the lords and gods were beaming with assent. But I kept on looking at it with uncertainty. Why are you hesitating? Roared Baba, while gazing at the cake expectantly. I'm not sure, I managed to mumble finally. Baba and all the gods and lords looked at each other with utter disbelief. It is not the time to hesitate, Baba thundered. You have been toiling for billions of years. We are happy with your efforts. Eat it. But I kept on looking at it. Baba became impatient. If you won't eat it right away, the opportunity will go away, and when the next one will come, even I don't know. Besides, we should all like to share a slice. If you've never tasted Mara's cake, you don't know what real heaven means. Mara was baking it for a whole week, together with 30,000 gopis from the Milky Way. And this is the way you respect her? Baba's face turned red. Yes, Baba, I finally composed myself. I am aware of this unique privilege, but this is not a good idea. Baba, the lords and the gods simply looked at each other with complete astonishment. Since the beginning of creation, no one ever refused Mara's cake. Baba turned at the sai, but the sai only pointed at his temple, signifying madness. Baba, what have you been telling me all this time? For whom have I been working all these long, tedious cycles? You have been working for my creation. Of course, you have done your best. Now is the time for the next step. And what are your lovers going to say? That I serve you because you gave me a perfect mind, and thus I never make mistakes. Most of them are not willing to serve you, with the constant excuse that they are not ready yet, that they will serve you only when they will be perfect. They are worried to make mistakes in your cause and pay the price for it. Baba and all the lords and gods couldn't say a word. You offer to me to be a general in your army, and I am just a corporal, barely. What is the difference between a general and a corporal in your army? Baba laughed at my seeming idiocy. You have been serving me for ages, that is true, and you have tried your best sometimes, but see, you have been working only with 5% of your capabilities. Now you will work 100% perfectly. No mistakes, no missing paragraphs in your translations. You will always find the right and accurate words and sentences to express my messages. You will write music that even my Beethoven never dreamed about. You will bring science and medicine to undreamt frontiers, and all of this you want to brush off? When I work for you, what is the difference between 5%, 100%? Work is work, true. I am constantly making mistakes. You can ask Don Stevens how much trouble he had to go through till he managed to get from me a proper version of the Hebrew discourses. Still, I made all this with my limited human capacities, and this meant to encourage your lovers to work for you, wherever they are, without hesitation. I handle my lovers quite well without you, laughed Baba at my supposed presumptuousness. Baba pulled out a thick folder and took out a bunch of papers. See how many emails Don sent me over the years concerning you and the troubles you gave him. He called you an oaf. Did he really? And he was right. An oaf in Hebrew means mischievous chicken. What shall I do? Am I not a son of the great mischievous chicken? All the lords and gods broke out laughing. Anyway, would you like to know why we decided to grant you this new capability of service? I was thinking very hard, tracing back my current lifespan, like a person who was sentenced to death. Not much of Albert Schweitzer or Mother Teresa. Gandhiji, forget it. I didn't even scratch their ankles. Not a mighty general who saved the country from her enemies, nor a statesman who brought peace to a rather shattered land. Nothing. True, I give once in a while a coin to a lady beggar in the center of Jerusalem, but what about the millions of beggars in India alone? Feeding the stray cats? I whispered at last. Baba collapsed, laughing hysterically for 2 minutes. Feeding the cats? Do you think we would reward you for feeding cats? I have never asked you for any reward this lifespan, I answered calmly, wishing that the earth would open her mouth and swallow me in. God realization is not a reward, answered Baba with this sweet, cunning smile. Only then you will start to render real service. Till now you only practiced. Then all of a sudden, Baba became all seriousness and sent a quick glance at the Sai. Sai meaning Sai Baba. The Sai just nodded his head with assent. Where is the court Abdal when he is needed? Exclaimed Baba angrily, looking in at all directions. I am right here, your lordness, responded at once the Abdal, shooting out from his hiding place between the toes of Lord Moses. You know how it goes with generals. If they don't see you, you do not exist. Bring the commandment file, ordered Baba. The Abdal took out a very old, ancient leather briefcase, and from it took out 2 large stone tablets. Carve on it the 12th commandment. Whatsoever you do to my little ones, whatsoever I do to you, in the same way you treat my creation, the creation will treat you. I have a special soft spot for my little creatures. He pointed Baba towards me, and from his eyes a steel spark flashed, and my heart sank with trepidation. Now I have all the 12 commandments complete after 3,000 years. 12 commandments? Baba looked pleased at Lord Moses. What you suggest is very appealing to us, but no, not for this. I have been impressed with all this internal work you have been doing for me. Your tedious, boring, gray, silent work with all the mountain of rubbish I dumped on your head before you were born. Tell me, since you replaced my Carrie, how many persons heard my name? I tried to count with my fingers and then started counting my toes. I was never good at math. Maybe 200, maybe a couple of thousand. Do you know how many people I have touched through you since you have placed all your sanskaras at my disposal? I started counting my fingers and toes, but quickly realized I don't have enough fingers. A couple thousands, I said shyly. Many millions. Do you know how many times you got married since you started imitating your supposedly separate individuality? You said once that we take millions of lifespans on Earth. Until recently, we used to marry 4 women. I'm afraid we will need a supercomputer to figure it out. See the point and be clever. See the point and be clever for a change, Baba sighed. I cannot help anyone unless they ask me personally. You were given free will. Planet Earth is a free will zone, and we respect it. We would never interfere with your choices, even when these choices will doom you to hell. My ignorant children have chosen to forsake me, so they sink deeper and deeper into the mazes of illusory creation. And by now they suffer and suffer overwhelmingly. I am eager to help, but at this stage, they are wearing on their heads helmets of thick lead made of ignorance. And my love cannot penetrate through it. When you at last decide to surrender to me, when you lastly realize that your efforts are in vain, you have brought before me not only your little self, but also the endless relations you have had from the very beginning, from minerals to humans. Each step you made closer to me opened a way for them to come closer to me. When you were working tediously on your internal sanskaric makeup, you were actually working for all of them. You were erasing their sanskaras even a little bit, and thus you have opened the option before them to come to me. For this silent, consistent work of yours, we decided to give the best means of rendering perfect service. God realization. What say you now? I am still convinced that this will make a bad impression on your lovers. Most of them refuse to do any work for you before they will be perfect. And this is a dire mistake on their side. Anyway, what will happen if I don't take it? Will I not be able to work for you anymore? Baba smiled with assurance. You know that you and all have my companionship for keeps, with one condition. Yes, Baba, the 11th commandment. You shall not harm. 11th commandment. There it is. You shall not harbor any resentment whatsoever in your heart realm against anyone, whomsoever, under any circumstance. Baba was grinning. Seems that something managed to penetrate into your thick skull. Nevertheless, but what shall we do with Mara's cake? Somebody must eat it. Why don't you give it to Kendra? She is grieving over the loss of her Chachi. I'm going to see if I can share screen here. I realize I can do that. Let's see here. Okay.
Keep on. Why
I am. I'm
why
sharing
share?
screen. So you can see this is Chachi. This is Kendra's Chachi.
See it. It is.
There was an unexpected turn for this episode. While Chachi was crossing the gate to the everlasting hunting fields, she managed to swindle Cerberus, the gatekeeper. As is the case with male monsters, Cerberus simply lost his head while seeing the gorgeous Chachi, and she managed to sneak inside the court. I personally was bedazzled for 3 days after visiting Baba's court. So don't put the blame on me. The court Abdul was hiding again between Moses' toes. Baba kept on laughing at my plight. So Chachi, like all clever ladies, simply leaped upon the celestial table and gulped Mara's cake at once. There she is. Now I'm wondering, how far can Baba go in order to make his Kendra happy? Since Chachi became God realized before finishing a normal evolution and involution, will she continue taking physical form as a perfect being, a perfect God being or dog being? This is the question. Will she come back as the Messiah of the stray cats? I am sure we will soon have more news about this unexpected occurrence. Kendra, for those who don't know, is Kendra Crossan, who loves little doggies like this. She's I think maybe most of you know.
Bravo! Wow, you read so well too.
Oh, what a sweet little.
What happened?
Maxime.
This was, I wrote it. We were participating those days on the Baba talk, and we communicating with all the people. And then one day, Kendra was crying over her dog, the Chachi, died, and she was very sad. And I got this inspiration to write this tribute to make Kendra happy. Her Chachi is dog realized, or something like this. And I understand how these stories came up.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this and started to roll on. I was writing, and while I was writing it, I didn't know what is going to be the next sentence. The sentence after it was as if you pull something out, something. Out. I was looking, what is going to be now? While I was writing it, I didn't know what is the next sentence.
Wow.
And that's true for with other stories. So,
Yeah.
fun? Enjoyed
That's
it?
the creative process.
Bravo, bravo.
That's what they say. Wow, I admire you. All right.
Can you put the screen off, please?
Yeah. There we
Thank
go. Yeah.
Quite a few more of them, and often Mera is a superstar. And I'm telling from time to time, telling what is Mera's role in the creation, and I had a few Mera stories besides what I told you before, and she instructed me Baba's Darshan. Also, in one, she sent me a few letters. It's also on my website. You can read Mera's letter to me. I was told that this is extremely rare that she's writing letters. This is a handwriting of Meheru. She was not writing at all. Amazing. And I think once I was told that I didn't know this, that it's rare that she's writing letters to anyone. I don't know who got letters from her in the community. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, next time I came to, so I met Meira 79. Next time I met her again when I came with my wife, we came together to Mehrabad, India again. It was end of 82, beginning of 83. And that was the second time I met Meira. And I brought with me my flute. It was a long wooden flute. It was almost like 2 pieces. Usually flute, 3 pieces. It was a big, bulky thing. Why I was playing on it, I don't know. I didn't have such a good tone, but I was, sometimes I love to make up my own tunes, to improvise. I improvised something before Meira on Meira's porch. And after I was playing, Meira was saying, this is Etzion's tune. When I came to Meira, I was holding the flute from both sides. This is the flute. I was holding it like this and gave it to Meira. And Meira put her 2 hands in the middle. And all the women, Mandali, were screaming because then a male is not supposed to touch Meira. And she knew my heart, that I want to have some communion with her. It was very touchy. I was holding the flute. The flute is big, it's a big thing. And my 2 hands were here. Her hands were in the middle. So for a few seconds, we were physically connected. You understand what was this?
Yeah.
Very funny.
So she loved you. She understood.
It was a very, very touching. Yes.
I was going to ask, she was so, what's the word? Angry, or when she burst in the room and she insisted that you take darshan.
No, there was no anger.
Before you said when you were at Baba's room and she burst in and said, why aren't you
No, there was no feelings, no emotions. There was a commandment to take Baba's darshan. Why don't you take Baba's darshan? So it was nothing to do with any. She knew. She knew that I'm sitting there. The door was closed, and she knew that I'm not taking Baba's darshan. She knew.
Yeah, right.
I was standing before her. I felt completely transparent. It was very embarrassing. That you could see everything. You could see all your lower self, all your ugliness, all your inner ugliness. Even maybe externally, we sometimes look nice, but the inside it looks quite horrible. And when I came, just imagine I'm coming the first time to Mehrabad, seeing Meira. When Baba brought the situation to such an extreme, I was dealing nonstop for years on, since he walked into me with all these horrible sanskaras. Nonstop, I had to walk on horrible things, like daily walk with, I could feel every day, terrible monsters are coming from the subconscious mind. I could experience these ugly beings. And I said to myself, what have I done? I'm the reincarnation of Hitler. What's wrong I've done only in the past? Who knows? And it was for years on, every day. He was teaching me how to deal with this thing. You just you take the monster, envelope it with my face and send it to me. That's what I was doing all day, walking all the time, monster after every day, during the day, non-stop. I would deal with one monster, take a break for a few minutes or a little bit longer, and then the next one would come. One terrible thing after one terrible thing, ugly monster after ugly monster, and you have at the same time this vivid companionship of the avatar. You're not alone with all this, and I didn't understand what the hell is going on with all this. And then when I was coming to me, standing before Meira, I didn't feel like Hitler, but like 50 Hitlers. I'm the worst being in the universe. But only after 20, 25 years, one day, Baba sent me the insight. It's nothing personal. You have been doing spiritual work. You have been cleansing sanskaras for the world. It has nothing to do with you. Let me steam in all this garbage for decades. You wouldn't tell me, you were serving me. First, you do all these processes, and the insight, the explanation comes at the end. And that's what he was working with his mentally all the time. You just do what I'm telling you to do, then ask questions. And after sometimes years on, understood why I told them ABC. You could see it only many years later. He didn't have time to give you, there's no time for him to give you explanations. Just have to obey and move with it. The explanations, the insights come later on. You see, I'm reading Lord Mayor now. That's my daily meditation at the moment. And there's endless stories. We were talking the Mondays they learned not to ask questions, just to obey. And when they obeyed, all kinds of things would happen. I'm reading now, for example, I can bring one good anecdote. This is a Katzikena. I have to pet her all the time. Otherwise, she becomes nudnik. No, she's nudnik. No, stop it. No, stop it. Be nice. It was during the World War II, during the 40s. Millions of people are dying every month. The disasters, this unbelievable carnage was going on all over the planet. All entire humanity is anxious, anxiety, rations, everywhere. Baba was doing his intense mass work. Then he was traveling from city to city to look for mass. And then one day they were supposed to go finish the work in one town or city, and then they were supposed to go to another city. Baba was telling me, no,
Looks like.
what is?
אתה מסיים?
תכף. יכולה לחכות עד 10 דקות. I have to go to the other room. Just a minute.
No, not now.
Why are you speaking? What do you want?
I want the room in order.
Whatever. He doesn't care about. That's my lovely wife. She
Hello.
No, she's not there. She's not there.
I think maybe 10 minutes or so more, and I'm going till 10, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
And your wife,
Yeah,
too? Does that
I
work?
can finish. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll finish just this story with Baba. It's quite a wonderful story. They were supposed, it was all planned. The mass tours were planned in advance. We have to go from here to here. The mass here. They knew how to locate the mass, and they were preparing all this. The Mandali, Baba had 3 Mandali who were experts in finding mass, so they made the plan, and they were supposed to finish the work in one particular town, and they were supposed to go to the next one. And Baba said, no, you go to, there's a village. First we go to some village, and there were no mass. And they didn't ask questions, Baba said. So they were traveling to that village, and they got into the village. And they're entering the village, and they see there is a tree somewhere, and there are people lying under a tree. No, that's no big deal, a very common thing. Baba was telling the Mandali, go find out what these people are doing there. So what they discovered that it was abandoned family, lost everything. The father was father, mother, and a few children. One child, they were starving to death. So they were preparing to die. Baba came in the nick of time. And he sent the wife to hospital, gave the father a large amount of money, and took him to the nearby city. And the man said, here I'll find some occupation. Now, and I look at the scenery, it's a world war, everything is being, what a devastation. All of a sudden, it takes a pity of one little family. Amazing, unbelievable. Unbelievable. He was doing it again and again, doing the masters, and was sending out once a rich man came, Fortis, gave Baba envelope with 500 rubles. It's was a very large sum of money. I think he could buy an acre in Mehrabad for 10 rupees at that time, or something like this, if I'm not wrong. I don't know how large. And Baba told the man, the rich man, I don't want any money from you. And he implored him to take it. And Baba accented and said, okay, I will use it for something else. And he gave it to Eruch. And he told Eruch, you will give it to somebody, it will work out naturally. One day you will give it to the right person. And Eruch did such things before. And while they were traveling, they were going here, they were going there. And Eruch was inquired if there is some people who are needy in a serious situation. And usually Baba wanted to help those who were wealthy and lost everything. Baba was very interested to help, in particular, not just the poor, which he did, but not once he was wanted, like these people who found them under the tree, to help others, people who lost everything. One day, Eruch was in, I think, some store, grocery store. There are people talking about this person who lost everything and he's in dire straits, etc. And Eruch asked, who is this man and where he is? And they gave him his whereabouts. And Eruch went there and told the man, the people where there were two girls, I think. Where is your father? He's not there, he will come later. So he inquired when he will come, and the Eruch came again, and he saw the man, and he told him that my elder brother sent me, I think, more or less these words, and he wants to give you a gift. So the man was stunned, because Eruch offered him this 500 rupees, huge amount of money, I believe, or whatever it is. And the person looked at him and said, if he won't bring it now, I decided to commit suicide. Now, he said to him, you came to the last moment. I couldn't bear it anymore. Everybody's starving and I cannot feed them. I cannot cope with the situation anymore. I'm going to commit suicide. And he came to him. It's just the same like Chanji. If you remember, Baba was in Manzil. Also, he was telling the Mandela, let's go and stroll to the beach. And when they came to the beach, Chanji was standing there looking at the ocean, just preparing to walk into the ocean and drown himself. After he lost everything, his associate stole his wife and all his possessions, and he was totally desperate. And Baba used to do such things to people at the nick of time, as he did to me in this life. He came to me at the last moment. It was so overwhelming, which was not bearable anymore. It's another long story. Simply amazing how the world is not running to such a being, and there's endless stories like this. You read the stories, and the stories are new stories. So I believe all kinds of people of us are experiencing with him, and it's strange. It's strange. I was going to the anthroposophical meetings. Here and there, I would dare to say something, not the name of Baba, they wouldn't accept it. But I'm honest, I was telling that this is the spiritual master said. I was saying things, from where do you know this? From where do you know this? From where do you bring it? I was telling them things that they never heard. Steiner was a genius, all knowledge, had great, fantastic knowledge, but he was not omniscient. He was not perfect master. He was not an avatar. He was extremely advanced and extreme genius, but he doesn't have the knowledge of what we got in the discourses and God speaks. The simplicity the profundity of Baba's words. I read the discourses most likely 50 times while working on it. Again, endless times. And each time you read it, you see something new, something different. The English as a language is flowing. You read the secret doctrine, it's like eating stones. Tanya is very difficult, very hard. Blavatsky was asked, why it is so hard? Why are you already using such hard language? He said, this is not a material for lazy people. You have to work very hard with it. It's also in Judaism. In Judaism, we have very difficult occult material. You have to work on this very hard for many, many years just to have a glimpse. Okay?
Yeah, Etzion, you have held forth now for 2 hours. That's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
And
I had
know there's
fun. I hope you
more.
did.
Oh, I was just thinking maybe you might bring an instrument, maybe the bassoon, to Artie. Try it out, one song at Artie, see what happens. Maybe I would love to hear if we could. Maybe, huh?
Maybe if you will arrange a meeting, such an hour, I can play a tune. But I think these artists, it's all the hours of the night.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll talk to Angela.
It is now in Israel. It's a good hour. It's 8:30 in
לא,
Israel.
הארטי הראשון זה ב4 אחר הצהריים. The first arty is 4 o'clock in our time, 4 p.m.
Oh, the first one.
4
Oh, it
p.m.?
is?
Tomorrow?
Oh, in the morning.
No. The first arty that they do at 9:30 in the morning, their morning is our 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's always 2 arties, one at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, our time, and one at, I think, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock at their time, our time. So she's talking about the arty of the 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Israel time.
Do you think it's possible at that time, 4 o'clock or somewhere
Yes.
between?
I'll try tomorrow I can play the Gujarati arty on the flute. I'm trying to play it on the bassoon. This is my
Okay, now it might not work, but we could try and see. Angela's was down.
I have to make to write the Gujarati arty for the bassoon. I have to transcribe it a little bit. It's not so difficult. I started to do it. I'll try
But
to
when they
prepare.
do the arty, then each one does it by themselves. And then we have a half-hour singing, like in the Samadhi, and that half-hour singing, then people share. So if you want to play that, you can share at that time.
Okay,
So it comes about, it's right after the prayers.
Do they do it on Friday or Saturday?
And we do every day.
Afternoon.
Every morning, every night. Yeah.
Every morning, every night.
כל יום ב4 אחר הצהריים, ואחר כך בלילה, כשהם, זה כבר לפנות בוקר
שלנו. כל יום ב4 אחרי הצהריים, do we have the artists?
4 אחר הצהריים זה השעה שלנו, שאצלהם זה 9:30 בבוקר, שזה הארטי הראשון.
זה 9:30, את מוסיפה 7, זה לא יכול להיות. If it's 9:30,
אז 9, תוסיף 9?
זה 9. Yes, you have to add 7 hours. If it's 9:30, then you have to add, they cannot be 4. It's 4:30?
It is at 4 o'clock, it is. It is at 4 o'clock.
So they start at 9.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay.
Yeah.
We have to,
okay, just come. You don't have
to tell you goodbye. Otherwise, I'm going to be kicked to the street.
Thank your wife. Say hello to your wife. Thank her.
She's a tough lady. She puts me
השיחה הייתה נהדרת,
tight leash.
ממש טובה. תודה רבה. השיחה הייתה מקסימה.
כן,
It was a beautiful talk.
Wonderful. Okay.
Etzion, thank you. You give us
it's very good talk.
Thank you.
שמעת את לוטפיה? לוטפיה אמרה לך גם.
ביי
We
ביי.
look forward to it.
شكرا جزيلا يا أخت لطفية. Okay.
We look forward to seeing you sometime, Artie. All right. Jai Baba. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Betty. It was wonderful. Thank you.
It was
Jai
lovely.
Baba, everybody. Thank you, Etzion.
Dear ones,
and
enjoy.
your friend, your Arabic friend, we're glad she came. This is my friend Scott. He's being silly.